It's time for the Kurtiss Riggs Show. Kurtiss Riggs, the head coach of the 10-time champions of the Indoor Football League, the Sioux Falls Storm. The Kurtiss Riggs Show being brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and Orthopedic Institute. It's the Kurtiss Riggs Show on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio KWSN. Here's your host for the Kurtiss Riggs Show, the Silver Fox, Rich Rosti.
And good afternoon, and hi everybody, I'm Rich Rosti, and welcome to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. A new day, and a new time, and a new year for the Sioux Falls Storm 2017. Glad to have you with us. Beautiful day out there. I've got some spring fevers. Some neighbors saw some robins outside, and we're still in the middle of February, so when you think February, you think basketball getting ready? No, you think about the Sioux Falls Storm and the Sioux Falls starting their 2017 campaign. And you're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show right here on KWSN. And we'll talk to the head coach, Kurtiss Riggs, about the IFL. We'll talk about the opening game coming up this Friday against the Arizona Rattlers. And then also on the show will be Jim Loria, Director of Corporate Partnerships, along with IFL Director of Officials, Tom Falcinelli. Always great talking to Tom. And also our special guest will be IFL Commissioner Mike Alshouse. Then later in the show, we'll be giving away 12 free tickets to the Storm's next game. That's this Friday as the Storm faces the Arizona Rattlers. And we'll also get the head coach talking about a scouting report for Friday's game. So this is the Kurtiss Riggs Show, proudly presented each week by the official Storm sports medicine providers, Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital, the Storm official healthcare team, and the only 5-star rated hospital in Sioux Falls. And also by Orthopedic Institute, the one to trust. This is Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
At Midwest Family Care, we know your healthcare needs.
Rugged. When you think tough. When you think big. Think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. We keep you moving.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. This segment brought to you by Boyer Trucks. And they sponsor the archived Kurtiss Riggs Show. So you can go to the Storm website, and this broadcast, there'll be a video of it on the Storm website, and it's sponsored by Boyer Trucks, celebrating their 90th year. Sales, parts, and service, they keep you moving. Joining us via the fan line, he is the Director of Corporate Partnerships with the Sioux Falls Storm, Jim Loria. Jim, welcome back to Storm season.
Thank you, Rich. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Well, you've been busy in the off season, haven't you?
Oh, every day and every minute, Rich. As you know, it comes quick, and every day is a day you got to make something happen, and it's now ticking down the clock to Friday night, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, Friday night, the Arizona Rattlers. We'll be talking about them quite a bit during the course of the Kurtiss Riggs Show. Have a scouting report by the coach later on. A storied franchise, coming into Sioux Falls, their 25th year. They've been champions of the Arena Football League, so this is going to be a great game coming up on Friday night at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Now, Jim, tell us about special things that you have going on for this first game.
Well, this first one, we've got a poster that we're calling it the Champions Poster. And anybody that's a collector out there, especially the Storm fans that go way back, this is one item you're going to want to be getting. We got 5,000 of them. Boyer Trucks, thanks to them, are providing this. But, Rich, they're big. And these are 3 feet tall.
Oh, my.
2 feet wide. We'll even have rubber bands for you at the table when you come in to roll them up. But what it's going to encompass is it's got the actual photos of every championship team of the 10 title teams. So every photo's there, and then it lists every single player that was part of those championship teams and a number of trophy teams that they've been part of.
Oh, my.
So it's a fascinating piece. And actually, Tom Slattery, our photographer, kudos to him. It came out beautiful. I mean, it's a really nice collectible piece for the fans.
And that's for the first 5,000 fans that arrive at the Denny Sanford Premier Center.
You bet, you bet. And then we're also doing a fundraiser. As you know, we do one a game. And Kaylee Shade, who's been a prolific graphic designer, and she's also a social media director for the Storm, and she's also been afflicted with SMA throughout her life, and we're doing a fundraiser for her combined with the Taken by Storm Community Fund. And so there'll be some amazing gifts. As you know, she's a Dallas Cowboys fan, and so the Cowboys sent in some actual player photos signed by many players. Sean Lee, like their outstanding linebacker, and a lot of their known players have photos coming in. That'll be one gift. But we've also got Dak Prescott, the NFL Rookie of the Year. His jersey came in, signed by him. And we've got from the Atlanta Falcons, the quarterback, Matt Ryan's jersey, Adrian Peterson from the Vikings. There's a lot of things like that. Some other things like the Premier Center, which has been a great partner to the Storm, actually surprised me. They sent in tickets, concert tickets. So if you're a fan of the Florida-Georgia line, for example, these are 8-row seats from the stage. They're actually unbelievable seats. If you're a fan of the professional bull riders, that show comes in April 1st. They've got tickets 4 rows right from the field. 2 of them. So 2 concert tickets, 2 PBR tickets. That'll be available for, the silent auction package. So when you come to the game, doors open at 6. We're right next to the merchandise booth. All the proceeds we're doing from the Thunderball toss to that and everything else will help Kaylee's SMA and our Taken by Storm Fund.
Well, fantastic, Jim. All season long, the Storm has different things going on, and every week we'll talk to Jim, or pretty much every week we'll talk to Jim about those exciting things. Anything else about Friday night?
Well, that's about it. They've got to get a win, as you know. I'm sure the boys are revved up. Arizona is quite the opponent. We've at least seen name recognition. It's going to be an intense game. I kind of forecast this one to really be the heavyweight championship bout, so to speak. Who's the king of indoor football? We know we are, and I think they're coming in with a burr on their butts. So it'll be intense. I've been telling the fans this is a game you really want to be part of.
Well, I tell you what, Jim, thanks a lot. Always great information for the Sioux Falls Storm and the Kurtiss Riggs Show.
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it.
Jim Loria, Director of Corporate Partnerships with the Sioux Falls Storm, giving us a little taste of what's going on the Storm game Friday night against the Arizona Rattlers. And you can hear that broadcast on our sister station, KELQ FM 107.9. Friday night pregame show starts at about 6:45. John Semchenko and I'll have the call for you. Coming up next, we'll be talking to the head coach, Kurtiss Riggs. We'll find out what he did on his summer vacation and what's coming up this year for the Sioux Falls Storm. All of that coming up next. And you're listening to Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
Hey, you there, in your car.
Success in business is about growing your bottom line. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this: increase revenue and decrease spending. This is where we come in. At A&B Business Solutions, our managed print services will optimize your print environment, reducing your total printing costs while improving workflow. Managed print services will impact your bottom line. MPS, it's just another solution from A&B, the company that helps you solve, simplify, and save.
If you like to bowl, roll on into Eastway Bowl. Hey, wait a minute. Eastway Bowl is more than just bowling. It's a full of fun entertainment center. There's many things to do. Games, and more games, plus food. Great food. Come into our full-service sports bar and grill where you'll find terrific drinks with our popular late-night specials. Watch all your favorite sporting events at Eastway. Visit our website to make your bowling reservations and find out more about the full fun experience. Eastway Bowl and Entertainment Center, where there's something for everyone.
You're listening to The Kurtiss Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1, 1230, Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to The Kurtiss Riggs Show. And this segment brought to you by our good friends over at Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. And they have been Storm sponsors since day one. Since the Storm started, Deli Fresh Subs has been their Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. And come see what fresh really is. And they deliver anywhere in Sioux Falls, and their subs are just breadier. He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs. Coach, how did you spend your off season?
I worked. I did a lot of work. The academy now is really grown into something that keeps you pretty occupied. And then my family and I we were able to get away for a little bit and enjoy a little bit of time before school gets started. The season went really long last year, and so there was a small window for all the coaches to be able to get away with their families before a lot of them are teachers or the kids start school and things like that. So we were able to enjoy some of that, and you kind of find that mesh between work and a little bit of play.
Well, that's usually what it winds up to be, a little bit of play. But, when I think about it, Coach, you've been the coach. This is your 15th season. You've won 10 championships. You won 6 in a row. What keeps you coming back? I notice you just signed another 3-year contract, but what keeps you coming back to coach the Sioux Falls Storm?
Well, I enjoy coaching. I mean, I don't have any aspirations of going into back to the college ranks. And so the indoor game is still an opportunity to get paid to be able to do something I really enjoy to do, and that's to compete. I enjoy competing. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy working with these young men that come from all over the place and be able to get them to buy into a goal and follow through with it. So it's still something I'm very passionate about. My family still really loves it. We thought as certain avenues didn't open up in other areas, this was one that we still felt very good about. So that's why I agreed with Todd to continue on.
Well, one thing about it, you talked about the coaching ranks. The thing that you don't have to do, coaching the indoor football team in Sioux Falls, you don't have to go coast to coast recruiting players to come here.
Well, you do, but you're right. I don't have to fly out and meet mom and dad and try to convince them that, I'm going to take care of their young man for the next 4 or 5 years. We work almost exclusively with agents, Rich. Uh-huh. It's really changed. I mean, it used to be where I would travel around and meet with a lot of the area coaches and talk about what athletes they have and which guys they thought could play after college or possibly. And then I would sit down and have to sell the Sioux Falls Storm to these guys. Well, not anymore. And that's where the game has really changed. Now we work with agents, and everything's done pretty much over the phone. And then when you find a player, you do your due diligence, starting to call their coach and check on things that way. But you're right. You don't have to recruit and travel all over the United States. That's a definite perk.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, when we come back, we're going to talk about your 2017 squad as the Kurtiss Riggs Show continues. This segment brought to you by Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. Hey, they deliver anywhere in Sioux Falls. And just stop by and see what fresh really is. We'll be back right after this.
When people think of Uncle Ed's specialty meats, what comes?
So, with our free checking, there are a few exceptions.
Wait, what is that? Did you just do air quotes?
Ma'am, just relax.
You did it again.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're still doing it.
Yeah.
Not all free checking is really free. Switch to one that is. Free Plus checking from First Premier Bank. No fees, no minimum balance, plus earn interest. Get free online and mobile banking and more. Switch today at firstpremier.com/free.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. This segment brought to you by Eastway Bowl and Eastway Lounge, and they sponsor the Storm viewing party. The next one's going to be on Saturday, February 25th, when the Storm travel down to Cedar Rapids to take on the Titans. And make sure you stop out there and take advantage of the specials, $1 off Bud and Bud Light Taps. And also they'll have a very special prize given away courtesy of our friends at Budweiser and Beal Distributing. He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs. Coach, you got a new squad. Changes. Tell us about it.
Well, we feel like we have a good group of a mix of veteran players, some veteran players from opposing teams that we played in the past, and then rookies. And we feel like so far in the camp, the guys have done a phenomenal job with the way they approached camp, the way they came into camp, and then the mesh between the two, the rookies, the veterans, and then the opposing team veterans. I always think you have to look at how do they respond to how we do things here. They're kind of set in their ways with other teams, and how do they respond to the veterans we have? And so far, things have gone very well.
You're also training in a new facility. Tell us about that.
Well, now our partner and major sponsor, Orthopedic Institute, is they have their facility, the OID1 facility that has Great Life and the Sioux Falls Storm all out there. And it's great because we can do all our meetings, our film work, and then walk right over to our practice facility on the D1 side. Now, the field is very narrow, but it's nice, though. I mean, it's so nice to be able to just walk over and go right into practice. And if we need to, we can go right back to the meeting rooms, watch film, see what we're doing, take care of all those things right there.
So when you talk about the new players that have come in that from our other teams, I know you haven't made your final 25-man roster cut, but if there is any players that you can maybe highlight as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, offensively, I mean, some guys that have stood out, I think some of the offensive linemen that we brought in, Fred Ruff and Jabari Buckley both have done a very good job. They are large human beings. I mean, they take up a lot of space, and they both have come in, and, they not once has anyone said, hey, you've got some big shoes to fill with Mania Smith, and they both have come in and just done what they do, and what they do is very good, and they've been very coachable, and having Coach Kaiser back now with the offensive line has really helped those two out, and it was perfect timing for Paul to come back as we started to get some new guys in that we needed him to work with. A backup quarterback that's in right now, Drew Powell, he is very good. And, he's a lefty, too, which makes him even better.
Well, that's got points right there for you.
Geez. I mean, that means he's an athlete. But usually the rookies at quarterback come in, and you think, well, this is going to be a process. But Drew has really responded well and done a nice job. Some of the other guys, Robbie Rouse and Rolando Finch, both the running backs. Deuce is a veteran for us, Rolando Finch. But both those guys, Robbie Rouse, who we got from Iowa, has come in and really had a very good camp. The two of them have looked very good. They came in great shape. And then when you look at the defensive side of the ball, I think you see a few changes over there with a mix of veteran guys and some new guys. And, I think that's where there's probably a few more question marks on some of the spots. But up front, the D linemen, we have quite a few new guys, and they're all doing a great job. I mean, it's hard to single any one single person out. But there's a lot of talented players there. And, the guy that we got from his rights were from Colorado to Wichita Falls, and then we signed him as a restricted free agent, Rashard Smith. He really, his how multi-dimensional he is. He could play receiver, corner, safety, kick returner. He can do a lot of different things, and he was the reason why we kind of went out and sought him to come join the Storm, because rarely do we ever go after free agents from other teams. But he and Robbie both were two guys that we thought could come in and help out our team.
And how does that process work? Teams have to release them first, or you make contact with them to make a trade?
No, so there's a period of time where you have time to sign your players. And then if you don't get them signed by that point, then they're a restricted free agent, which means you still have their rights, but another team can now come in, talk to them, and sign them. So once we signed Rouse and Smith, then you have to pay the team for those players.
Oh,
okay. So the team loses their rights, but they get compensated in return. And we always feel like we can find someone else, but these are two guys. Smith led the league last year in interceptions, and then Robbie's one that, competing against Robbie, we always thought he's a great zone type runner, and then also one that's very difficult space to bring down. And so, we thought we'd see if he could come in and compete with Rolando Finch.
I suppose you sent the payment down in the form of athletic tape in a box.
We sent peanut butter and jelly sandwiches is what we sent, Rich. And we thought those bring more value than any monetary value. So the food consumption by these players is, so we thought they would find value in that. They haven't got sent back yet, so we're waiting to see.
Well, very good, Coach. Well, I tell you what, later on the show, you and I are going to be talking about the Arizona Rattlers, but just give us a little bench preview about the Rattlers coming in on Friday night.
Well, champions. They exemplify everything you would think of with the Storm in the IFL is Arizona in the Arena League, and that's going to carry over. Coach Guy is, you could tell. He's not one that's just going to come into our league and say, "Well, we're just learning the ropes." That's not going to be acceptable to him. It's going to be come in right away, and they're going to be competing right away. And you can just tell that's his mindset, his mentality, and his owner's mindset and mentality too. And when you get a combination of those things, usually good things happen.
Well, Coach, we'll talk about that in more detail a little bit later on the show. Coming up next, the director of IFL officiating, Tom Falcinelli, coming up next on the Kurtiss Riggs Show right here on Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
Your body is a complex arrangement of bone and tissue that requires only the best to maintain it. At Orthopedic Institute, that's our specialty. Our services have been specifically tailored to provide the best orthopedic care in the region. Orthopedics is what we do. That's why Orthopedic Institute is the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
As the weather changes, so do your plans for the hour, the day, and the week. You can expect the KSFY Severe Weather Team to bring you the most accurate forecasts, giving you early warnings when the weather gets rough and how long the storms last. With over 50 years of combined experience, you can expect more with the KSFY Severe Weather Team.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. This segment brought to you by Wingstop of Sioux Falls. It's more than a meal, it's a flavor experience. And after the interview, we'll take your third call at 336-1230. for 4 free tickets to the home game coming up on Friday as the Storm takes on the Arizona Rattlers. Joining us via the fan line, good friend of ours, the director of IFL officiating, Tom Falcinelli. Tom, how you doing, buddy?
Wonderful. Can't wait to get started in a couple days.
Oh, I tell you what, this is what, your 4th year or better with the league?
I think it's starting 5, but who's counting when you're having fun, right?
That's exactly right. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about this year was any rule changes that are going to be taking place during the course of this season.
Well, there's not going to be too many rules changes this year. Basically, we kind of cleaned up the rule book a little bit to straighten out some terminology to get on par with NCAA. For example, you hear the term cut block. Well, under the NCAA rules,
which we follow. There's no such thing as a cut block, so we call that a block below the waist. And the only significant change that we have coming up for 2017 is a timing change. And we're going to run the clock after the touchdown. It's going to continue to run through the try. In seasons past, as soon as a team scored a touchdown, we did stop the game clock. But this year, in an effort to speed the games along, we are going to continue the game clock until the try is over. And that's really the biggest rule change that we have this year. We've kind of, with our player safety fouls, that in the past we've had a kind of hybrid between the NFL and the NCAA rules. But since all of our officials are college officials, we're going to go strictly with NCAA 913 and 914, and that's commonly known as the targeting fouls, and that's how we're going to go with the player safety fouls. The only difference is we will not be disqualifying a player for a targeting type foul that would require disqualification under NCAA rules. Our rosters aren't big enough. We'll just find the player, and we have that will be reviewed on Mondays after the games, and players will be fined for those type of hits.
Talking with Tom Falcinelli, the Director of Officials for the Indoor Football League. Tom, you don't do this alone, do you? Tell us about your support staff and how much work that they go into evaluating officials and correcting mistakes, and also by helping to avoid mistakes being called.
Well, I'll tell you what, for the first time this past off-season in early December, we actually had an officials clinic in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona, hosted by the Rattlers. What a great meeting that was. We had a 2-day officials clinic held in conjunction with the coaches clinic, and it was just tremendous. We hope to continue that every season, where we can get the officials together, discuss our philosophies, our new rules, what we have for expectations that we lay down, because we keep improving. And we do have some pretty tough expectations this year that I can get into if you'd like to hear.
Absolutely.
We'll just, well, for example, little things such as weekly tests. And this year, I think we're a little bit unique that you can't really group tests, but each official must log into the website between Sunday and Thursday, not only to review their evaluations and the weekly training film, but they need to take the weekly test. And it's not an open book test. You're going to have 60 seconds to answer each question. You're under the gun, and just kind of mimicking the game type situations where you can't consult a rule book. You got to answer the question, and if the time expires, it moves on to the next one. You get that one wrong. And not only that, if an official does not take the weekly test, they will be fined in their next game check. So again, it's all about accountability. We have 67 officials this year. 28 are new. So that's almost half the staff is new this season. So we have a high standards and high expectations, and those are some of the little things that help us get better. And for the fans out there, this season we are going to be publishing our weekly training videos on the league's YouTube website, where I think the games are going to be broadcast. So the fans can actually go onto that website right now. We have 17 preseason training videos up on that site, and we share it with the fans. I mean, we don't hide anything. Officials make mistakes, we correct them, we show them, and that's how we get better. And it should be some interesting stuff to view for the fans, because this is one of the most difficult sports in the country to officiate. And take a look at some of the videos, you'll see what I mean.
Talking with Tom Falcinelli, Director of Officials for the Indoor Football League. Have any of the officials that have worked within the IFL ever had a chance to go into the NFL?
Well, many of the NFL officials have worked arena or indoor football, because it is if you can work this level of ball, you can work in the NFL. But once you've made the NFL, no, you're not coming back and working in the IFL.
No.
Most of our officials are. Like I said, we've got a guy coming on board this year that was late for the clinic because he was working the Pac-12 championship game the night before, and he couldn't get back to Arizona in time for the first day. So that's the kind of quality officials that we are hiring in the league. And, we're going to have 28 new ones, and hopefully we're counting on them to perform. If they don't, we're going to mentor them, we're going to train them, we're going to stay on top of them, and hopefully they'll get renewed on their contract for 2018.
Now, Tom,
go ahead.
One question that I had for you, is there a new rule as far as the pregame, as far as where the teams can practice and where they are confined to practice pregame?
Well, I remember that from the championship game last year, and now they didn't put an official rule into place. As far as tell you a change in tactics, what they have had for the fans this year is this year they've instituted an award for the best celebration of the week by the players. And that's going to be a weekly award awarded by the league to the best celebration. We want these players to celebrate. They're going to have to be quick, though, because, again, after they score that touchdown, the play clock is going to be running, and we're not going to wait for them to finish their celebration. They got 25 seconds to get that try off. But the fans should see a lot more dancing this year. I think the only requirement is they're not going to be allowed to go into the stands, but they can dance, hang on the wall. As long as it's not rude and a taunt, we're going to let them celebrate, and we're going to award a monetary award weekly to the best one.
Well, that's cool.
Make things really exciting.
One final question, as far as the timing rules are concerned. How much time do you think that'll save in a ball game's length?
Well, you figure we're hoping to cut at least 10, 12 minutes off. We've also instructed our white hats to get that ball chopped in real quick. Technically, as soon as that umpire spots the ball on the ground, the referee is supposed to chop it in and start that play clock, 25-second clock running. We've told the referees, hey, if you can shave a few seconds, chop that ball in even before the umpire spots that ball. We want to get these games done in 3 hours. That's the ideal time. And we have all the promotions and everything, so we understand that. So anything we can shave off, we're going to try to do it. I think it'll save probably 10 minutes off the total game time.
Well, Tom, always great to have you on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. Hopefully you and I will have a chance to cross paths throughout the course of this year. Good to talk to you, and hopefully see you down the road. Anytime.
It's my pleasure, and hey, we're excited. The officials are chomping at the bit to get out there. Hope you have a good show Friday night.
Thank you very much. Tom Falcinelli, Director of IFL Officiating. And this segment brought to you by Wingstop. And when we go to break, third caller, 336-1230, 4 free tickets to the Arizona Rattler game on Friday. This is Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
Are you looking for that
As the weather changes, so do your plans for the hour, the day, and the week. You can expect the KSFY Severe Weather Team to bring you the most accurate forecasts, giving you early warnings when the weather gets rough and how long the storms last. With over 50 years of combined experience, you can expect more with the KSFY Severe Weather Team.
When you think rugged, when you think tough, when you think big, think of the best transportation solutions mile after mile. When you think big, think Boyer Trucks. We keep you moving.
To the Kurtiss Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosti.
And welcome back to the Kurtiss Riggs Show. Still to come, we'll be talking with the head coach, Kurtiss Riggs, and have a scouting report of the Arizona Rattlers. That game is coming up on Friday night at 7 o'clock at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. This segment brought to you by Wingstop of Sioux Falls. More than a meal, it's a flavor experience. Then after the interview with Mike Allshouse, we'll be taking the third caller, 336-1230, for 4 free tickets to the game coming up on Friday. And he is the commissioner of the Indoor Football League, good friend Mike Alshouse. Thanks for taking time and being on the Kurtiss Riggs Show.
Rich, always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Another season. How many years have you been with the IFL?
Not as many as you, Rich, but I'm catching up to you. No, I think this will be my 8th season as a leadership official in the Indoor Football League office. I believe my 4th as the commissioner. So it's amazing how fast and time goes by, but also how long it seems as well. Thinking back, lots of ups and downs, lots of triumphs and failures, but we're still here. We're still kicking.
Well, we're kicking in high gear right now because you've had your 3rd team come over from the Arena Football League. The Arizona Rattlers have joined Spokane, and the Iowa Barnstormers, and then also a new franchise out in Salt Lake City. But tell us about the Arizona Rattlers, for them coming over from the Arena Football League, because they were, stalwart champions over there, and they came over with the IFL. Why did they come over this direction?
We're very happy to obviously have the Arizona Rattlers as a member here at the Indoor Football League. Not much really can be said about them that hasn't been said already about the quality organization that they have, professionalism from top to bottom. You talk about an ownership group headed by Ron Schertz and a team on the field led by Kevin Guy. Just first-class individuals all around, and they have been a treat to work with thus far, and I foresee it being a very long and prosperous relationship with our team there in Arizona and the IFL. It's kind of interesting seeing the symmetry between their dominance and what a great organization they were in the AFL, and comparing that to the hometown team there in Sioux Falls with the Storm. A lot of symmetrical entities on both sides, strong ownership, strong leadership in the head coaches, great front offices, great players, obviously. And it's just going to be really interesting and great to see how adding a great franchise like that will help improve our league here overall in the IFL.
What was the main reason for them to come to the IFL?
I'd never comment on another professional league competitor in our industry here. But I just think that we offered them something that they were lacking in the league that they were previously involved in. When you talk about geography, rivalries, things of that nature, we got a couple teams in Salt Lake City, Colorado, Spokane out west that are great travel partners for the Rattlers. And I think our reputation as a power here in the indoor/arena football industry is starting to be noticed and recognized. And the addition of the Rattlers and our team in Salt Lake, I think, is just going to further cement that and open up many more doors for us in the future.
Talking with the IFL Commissioner, Mike Alshouse, on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. Let's talk a little bit about the Screaming Eagles out in Salt Lake and a new concept that's called franchise. Tell us what's that all about.
It's all about empowering the fans and giving them unprecedented access that you're not going to find anywhere else in professional sports. The way that our fans are consuming our product is ever changing. When you talk about the industry trends, whether it's esports, whether it's fantasy football that's been around for a while now, fans want their information quick. They want to feel like they're a part of a community, a part of the family. I'm a diehard Washington Redskins fan. When they win, I say we win, and when they lose, I say we lose. So fans want to be a part of the team, and the franchise concept is allowing the fans to be more interactive, to have more access, and to be a bigger part of the day-to-day operations of their favorite professional sports team.
And you're going to have a chance to be able to see them in action coming up on Thursday as they take on the Nebraska Danger, and you can see it. And this is something new for this year also, and I wanted to talk to Mike Alshouse about the new video accessibility and how that works through YouTube. Tell us about that, Mike.
Yeah, I'll actually be there in person Thursday night for our game in Salt Lake City. Then I'll be waking up bright and early on Friday morning and heading to Sioux Falls to be there to witness the Storm Rattlers game on Friday night. So big week and weekend of kicking off the 2017 season in the IFL. And as you mentioned, fans are unable for some reason to be there in person to watch the games. We've partnered with our new platform to have a live broadcast of all of our games this season with YouTube. The world's leading provider of video content on the internet. It was probably our biggest announcement this offseason, switching from previous platforms that we've had and giving the fans the ability to view our games for free, which is well-deserved for the fans. And we think in the long run, it's going to build much bigger brand awareness for our league, our organization, as we continue to grow and expand in the future.
So how do fans log on? Is it through the website or the IFL website?
There's going to be numerous places where you're able to actually watch the stream. You can either go to the IFL YouTube page, which will have links from our IFL homepage as well. They'll link you there. But also each team can link the live stream to their homepage, to their Facebook feeds, to their Twitter feeds, to their you name it social media feeds as well. So there'll be a variety of different places. They put it this way: the fans won't miss it on game nights. There'll be enough promotion going out that you're not going to know. You'll definitely know exactly what you need to do to watch our live stream.
Well, Mike, it's so exciting to have the season upon us and all of the new things. My best to you as you continue as the commissioner of the Indoor Football League, and safe travels as you make your way out to Salt Lake City and eventually to Sioux Falls on Friday night.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it. Thanks, Rich.
He is the commissioner of the IFL, Mike Allshouse. Great to have him on the Kurtiss Riggs Show for the first show of the season. This segment brought to you by Wingstop of Sioux Falls. More than a meal, it's a flavor experience. And we'll take your third caller, 336-1230. 4 free tickets for the game coming up on Friday against the Rattlers. And you're listening to Sioux Falls Sports Radio, AM 1230 and FM 98.1 KWSN.
Success in business is about growing your bottom line. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this: increase revenue and decrease spending. This is where we come in. At A&B Business Solutions, our managed print services will optimize your print environment, reducing your total printing costs while improving workflow. Managed print services will impact your bottom line. MPS, it's just another solution from A&B, the company that helps you solve, simplify, and save. Ever wonder how much money your company spends on printing? Ever wonder how much time your employees spend ordering toner cartridges and repairing jammed machines? At A&B Business Solutions, our managed print services will analyze your print environment and design a program to reduce your total printing costs, improving workflow. A few small changes can make a big difference. MPS, just another solution from A&B, the company that helps you solve, simplify, and save. If you run a business, you know that you have to stay focused. The last thing you need to do is worry about your printers, copiers, and fax machines. Ironically, the last thing on your list is the first thing on ours. At A&B Business Solutions, our managed print services will implement a customized program that reduces your printing costs and improves workflow so you can focus on other things. MPS, just another solution from A&B, the company that helps you solve, simplify, and save.
If you like to bowl, roll on into Eastway Bowl. Hey, wait a minute. Eastway Bowl is more than just bowling. It's a full-of-fun entertainment center. There's many things to do. Games, and more games, plus food. Great food. Come into our full-service sports bar and grill where you'll find terrific drinks with our popular late-night specials. Watch all your favorite sporting events at Eastway. Visit our website to make your bowling reservations and find out more about the full fun experience. Eastway Bowl and Entertainment Center, where there's something for everyone.
So, with our free checking, there are
possibility. From starting a family to starting a business. Everywhere there's possibility, there's Premier. Believe in possibility. First Premier Bank.
Your body is a complex arrangement of bone and tissue that requires only the best to maintain it. At Orthopedic Institute, that's our specialty. Our services have been specifically tailored to provide the best orthopedic care in the region. Orthopedics is what we do. That's why Orthopedic Institute is the one to trust to keep your body in motion.
You're listening to the Kurtiss Riggs Show, brought to you by Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital and by Orthopedic Institute on 98.1, 1230 Sports Radio, KWSN. Back to the show. Here's Rich Rosty.
And our final segment with the head coach, Kurtiss Riggs, brought to you by Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. And I tell you what, they're on South Cliff Avenue, 917 South Cliff Avenue. Sliced fresh, baked fresh, made fresh. Come in and see what fresh really is. That's Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. He is the head coach of the Sioux Falls Storm, Kurtiss Riggs. Arizona Rattlers coming to town. How do you prepare for a team that you don't have any film to watch?
You know, it's really tough, Rich. It's so much different than even playing a new team in the IFL, because usually you can look at previous film, tendencies, coaching style, but this is taken. I mean, you have a coach that is coming into a whole new league, whole new set of rules, whole different style of coaching, and a whole new roster too. So it's one where we just have to really be sound in what we do, and then have a package to where we can adjust from what we're doing also.
I listened to an interview by the head coach, Kevin Guy, and that's one of the things that he talked about. He talked about, that they've studied a lot of film on the Indoor Football League, but what they really are concentrating on is doing what they do and doing it to the best of their ability. And I guess that's basically what both of these teams are going to do Friday night.
Well, I think you would be pretty remiss to not mention the fact that he's probably watched 5 years of our game film. I definitely got the indication that when talking with Coach Guy down at the league meetings, he has watched a great deal of our film. And I can't necessarily say it was purely for scouting purposes. I'm sure a lot of it was, but a lot of it was looking at the IFL and what teams do and what is successful and what doesn't work, and where do they find their identity and what do they think will work.
Well, I tell you what, he's been around quite a while. He's got quite a coaching record. He's won championships. The guy is a talented football coach, so I'm sure that he will be very prepared for whatever comes to pass when they come up here to Sioux Falls. And he's used to playing in front of big crowds within the Arena Football League, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to wow him when they step into the Sioux Falls, the Premier Center. It's really something that they're very accustomed to, especially what they play in front of at home.
Yeah, they had, I think, 13,000 people at their place last year when they played Philadelphia. They were defeated in the Arena Bowl, but they had won 3 championships in a row, 11, 12, and 13, or 12, 13, and 12, 13, and 14. They won 3 Arena Bowl championships in a row. So when you have a team like this coming into town, and you really don't know much about them, how many different series do you think it takes before you have, as a coaching staff, kind of have an idea what they're doing?
It'll be a couple. I mean, this is one where the halftime adjustments are really going to be important. That's where you really start to develop a feel for personnel, tendencies, what things they're doing in certain situations, and just their overall concept of how they're trying to attack you, either offensively or defensively.
As far as the Sioux Falls Storm coming into this, what are the fans going to see, if anything, differently this year from the Storm?
Well, I think you might see a few wrinkles. You'll see some new personnel. I think you'll see some familiar faces. I think you'll see a lot of great players, a lot of very talented players, and I think you'll probably see that with both teams. Guys that very easily have the capability of moving on to another league if given the opportunity, either the CFL or NFL. And that's why I think a lot of guys go to these two organizations, is for that chance itself.
Talking to Storm head coach Kurtiss Riggs on the Kurtiss Riggs Show. This segment brought to you by Good Sense Deli Fresh Subs. See what fresh really is. Stop by their location at 917 South Cliff Avenue in Sioux Falls. Looking through the roster of the Rattlers, there's a name that I recognize that was in camp with the Sioux Falls Storm for a while, quarterback John Wolf. Tell us about him and what his chances are of making the starting lineup down in Arizona.
I have no idea if he has a chance of making the starting lineup. I think maybe him or the Darren Thomas kid, the kid out of Oregon, they both have the same mold. John's probably a little bigger and stronger, but they're both very good runners. They both have very successful college careers. And I think they're the type of quarterback that Coach Guy knows that, hey, you can do a lot of things with guys that aren't maybe as polished passers, but you can run with them. You can do a lot of two-on-one concepts, and you can control them rather than relying on your guy to come back and make a big pass every down like the guy he had when they won all the titles in the Arena League.
Looking at your ball club coming into this game, when do you have to make your final cuts down to the 25-man roster?
Well, we've got to submit by Wednesday night our final 25-man roster. And so, we're pretty close right now, and we're just doing some final evals on some final spots here. But, I would assume that both teams on Wednesday night will submit their 25-mans, probably hold till the last minute on those. And then you know what 25 you have, and then Friday night for the game you have to have 21 on the sheet of paper that you submit for the game.
You look at your ball club, one of the things that you have talked about a lot, and we're talking to Storm head coach Kurtiss Riggs on the Kurtiss Riggs Show, is veteran leadership. And I look through this and I see Lorenzo Brown, Corey Williams, Rashad Mungro, guys that have been around, Mike Tatum. Tell us about the importance of your veterans as far as the transition and how it's gone this year in camp.
The thing that veterans have really done a nice job of this year, and a lot of them are the ones that you mentioned, is really, even though these young guys are coming in and competing with them for a job, they do such a great job of taking them under their wing and just explaining, hey, here's what we try to do with this. Here's what the purpose of this play is. Here's what you're going to see from a defense on this situation. And I don't think you see that a whole lot, especially in camp when guys are competing for jobs.
Well, one thing about it, Coach, that's one of the things that builds your team is the chemistry, and it starts with that veteran leadership and the guys coming in, buying into the philosophy, and then melding it all together.
Without a doubt. I mean, that's some years it happens quickly, and some years it takes just about all season. And hopefully, as far as camp has gone this point, it seems to be already starting to take place.
Well, Coach, best to you. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Rich, I look forward to it, and it'll be exciting. It should be a great crowd out there, and we hope to see everyone out there.
Well, thank you very much. Head coach Kurtiss Riggs of the Sioux Falls Storm. And when we go to break, and we go off the air, actually, we'll take your third caller at 336-1230, courtesy of Wingstop. But this segment brought to you by Good Sense Deli, fresh subs, South Cliff Avenue, 917 South Cliff Avenue. Sliced fresh, baked fresh, made fresh. Come see what fresh really is. Want to thank our guest today, Mike Alshouse, the commissioner of the IFL, Tom Falcinelli, the director of officials for the IFL. Want to thank all of our sponsors. Jim Loria also. Want to thank Sioux Falls Specialty Hospital, the only 5-star rated hospital in Sioux Falls, and the Storm official healthcare team, physicians, along with Orthopedic Institute, the one to trust. Storm playing the Rattlers on Friday. You can hear it on FM 107.9. Thanks to John Michaels, our producer in studio. For Coach Riggs, I'm Rich Rossi. Good night, everybody.
Sioux Falls Sports.